How on earth have I ended up here? What have I done? Right or wrong? What decisions have I made? Who did I listen to? Who did I ignore to end up at this exact point in my life, living where I'm living, the way I'm living? Have you ever thought of that? Have you ever gone back and looked at the things you've done in your life and figured out, not, I don't mean to be nostalgic. I mean, just like curious, like if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be here right now. If I had turned right instead of left, everything would be different. Do you ever think of those things? How did you end up where you're at? More importantly, have you learned any lessons along the way? I want to understand my life. I want to understand why I'm where I'm at and how I've gotten here. And to do that, I have to have learned something. I have to be able to go back and look at things and understand what I've learned from it. Problem with that, with everyone, most people, is emotions get in the way. The most traumatic things that happen in your life, the most fearful things, the things that make you the most angry, that made you the most sad, those are where the biggest lessons lie. But you get blinded by emotion. And so in a lot of cases, you don't learn and you end up repeating that same thing. If you can go back and look at those things and pick them apart objectively, if you can take the emotion completely out of the equation and just look at what happened and what you've learned from it, and also what you didn't learn from it. There's no time frame on this. You can go back to anything and look at it differently now. Everything that happens in your life can be a learning lesson if you can look at the situation objectively. So let me give you an example. Everyone thinks they're the best driver on the road, because of course we are. That's just the way it is. So here's a true story. Two guys riding motorcycles. They're riding down the road. They're not riding side by side, but they're staggered like this. It's a 4-lane road, 2 lanes in each direction. They're in the center lane. They're riding along. And suddenly and unexpectedly, a car in front of them hits its brakes, turns on its left signal to make a left turn. So the rider that's further back, he's a couple car lengths behind his buddy. He does a shoulder check and starts moving for the right lane. His pal, who's a little bit closer to the car that's making the turn, hits the brakes. When the first rider finishes his shoulder check and turns back, well, now he's on a collision course with his buddy. And indeed, he collides with him. His handlebar catches the other bike's handlebar and rips the bike right out from under the other rider, and the two of them go crashing to the ground, just as the car who caused the situation makes its left turn and drives off, probably oblivious to what's just happened behind him. So first of all, did the driver of the car actually cause this collision? I would strongly argue that he did not, especially if I was that driver. Did the guy on the bike furthest back cause the collision? Well, he actually did. He rode into the other bike, causing the collision. If I was a police officer on the scene, I would put fault on that guy. He should have stopped, right? Should the rider of the second bike blame himself for the crash? Yeah, he should. Should the driver of that car blame himself for the crash? Yeah, he should too. Maybe blame isn't the right word. Objectively, the rider that rode into the other bike, and technically and objectively, he's at fault for the crash. And he knows that. But as far as his buddy, what's he going to learn from that? Not to go riding with this clown anymore? Rider 2, and he said this himself, should have changed lanes. He should have went for the right lane. He had enough time. But the truth of it is, both riders who ride together, they should have understood that they're not sharing the lane. Even though one's in the left of the lane, one's in the right, and they're staggered, they should have been looking at themselves as separate vehicles on the road, and each of them owns that space of the road, not just half the lane. And if they had that understanding, they both would have come to a stop and avoided the collision. And the driver of the car, had he been paying attention and not made a last second decision to turn left, he wouldn't have set this whole thing into motion. So he got off scot-free as far as driving out of the way. But if he noticed, if he wanted to learn something from it, he would have either gone past and turned at the next light, or been paying attention to what he was doing and signaled much sooner. The point of it is, there's a lesson for everyone in this. And at the end of the day, nobody wants to be involved in something like this. So if you can go back and look at something objectively and go, oh yeah, if I had just done this, even though it wasn't my fault, I wouldn't have been involved in this. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Go back and think of a time in your life, a moment, a situation that triggered a strong emotional reaction from you, whether it pissed you off or whether you were elated, whether you were completely distraught. Go back and look at that. What if you can remove that anger, if you can stop playing that tape in your head that buddy wronged you, and if you could do it over again, you would show him. If you can stop thinking like that, because buddy probably doesn't know he wronged you, there's a good chance of it. And if you continue to be angry at him, you're giving that person control of your life. Remember, the emotion's coming from you, not from them. You can't change them. There's nothing to change. You have to change yourself. And to do that, you got to look back at the situation. You have to analyze it objectively and figure out what there was to learn from it, whether the lesson is to never spend a second with that person again, or you were just being petty. Whatever that lesson is, learn it and then let it go. If there's something to learn from it, there's something good to come out of it. So that's what this channel is about. I don't mean just like talking about conflicts and disputes and stuff like that, but going back through moments in your life and revisiting them and picking out what there is to learn from it. Not to be nostalgic, but to just to understand where you're at and how you've managed to be where you are now, and if there's more there. The reason for doing this channel, well, there's a couple reasons. Number one, I'm being a bit selfish, because In doing this, it gives me a chance to analyze my own stories, my own life. I'm recording them. I can be open, honest, and vulnerable, and then go back and listen to it and pick myself apart. Trust me, from doing videos, I have another channel where I'm doing car repairs and stuff like that. And when I go back, because I've never done this in my life, when I go back and look at the video, the raw video, and something goes wrong and I lose my mind and have a little hissy fit, when I watch that back, it makes me laugh. It's completely different. It's like when you see someone get hit in the groin and you laugh. You know it hurts and you don't want it to be you, but after the fact, it's like, are you okay? it 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 makes you laugh, and that's what this will do for me. So I don't have. I mean, this channel's just starting. This is the intro to it, so I don't have anyone watching it. I don't have to. I'm not playing to an audience. I'm not trying to monetize a channel. I'm just trying to, in a way, it's kind of documenting my life, because man, my grandkids can listen to these stories down the road and know who their oppa was. But I can I can get that out of it. Number two is for you, if you can relate to this and partake in sharing stories, whether you're sharing them with me, whether you're sharing them with a friend, or just writing them down, or making a video and listening to it back. You don't have to publish it, or you can. I would recommend you do, because then you might get some feedback or some comments back, and I hope I do, of stories of things that I haven't thought about, that didn't occur to me. Someone else's eyes on it, that's completely objective. Because as objective as I try to be, there's always going to be that little bit of bias in there, a little bit of, it wasn't really my fault, like I mean, the idea is to completely get away from that, but that's trying to escape your ego. And that's what you got to try to do. You got to put that voice in your head to sleep for a bit. Stop thinking and just listen. So that's what I'm trying to do. I want to get to the interconnectivity of all the things that happen in life, by looking at them and seeing how this led to this, led to this. That awful saying, everything happens for a reason. It's awful because, number one, people always tell you that when you're at your lowest low, something horrible has happened, and they're like, well, everything happens for a reason. Yeah, it's just not the thing you want to hear at that moment. The second thing that makes it awful is because it's true. And that's what burns so much. It's like someone saying there's plenty of fish in the sea just after someone you love dumped you. It makes you want to just, like, yeah. The thing about life is that everything happens for a reason is just another version of this too shall pass. It's kind of the same thing. Thing with that saying is, yeah, something terrible happens to you and someone says this too shall pass. Yeah, you'll get over it. A year down the road, you'll look back at it and, like, okay, I'm still here, everything's fine. But it also applies to good things that happen in your life. So you're at your happiest moment, your highest high, that too shall pass. And if you can't get to a point where you're happy in life, you can be depressed and still be happy. That's where you got to get to, because then you can be balanced and not let the highs and lows affect you so much. It's great to have those things, but you can't. That's like a drug. If you're always waiting for the next high, the next thing, Carolina just won the Stanley Cup. Boy, they're whoo. But it's already been a few days and they're now probably like, what about next year? Can we do it again? Like they're already looking for that next high. Anyway, that's what you can expect on this channel. If you want to hear some interesting stories and the lessons behind them, as far as the example story that I shared with you, if you're curious, I was the rider that rode into the other rider. It was my first crash. I still had my beginner's license, motorcycle license at the time, and I learned many lessons from that crash. I learned that slow speed crashes still really hurt. I learned that jeans and jean jackets don't prevent road rash. I learned that once you're on your belly sliding on the pavement, you can't control where you go. You're just along for the ride. I learned that my buddy Ken was very supportive and understanding. And of course, I learned to respect my place in my lane and not assume that the other rider is going to do what I'm doing. I never know how to end these things. So I'm just going to say, see you for now, and keep your eyes open for episode 1.